Hey everyone! Today I'm going to be ranking the movies of Christopher Nolan. Number 11 is the only one that I consider good, but not great. Following. This is a surprisingly low-concept debut from the man who would go on to redefine high concept. The relatively unknown cast are good. Nothing special, nothing to write home about, but they're good.
Nothing here of any value.
You don't seem that concerned.
I don't do it for the money.
Why do you do it?
For the adrenaline. And because, like you, I'm interested in people. Hey, you can tell a lot about people from their stuff. How old would you say these people are?
Don't know.
Well, you can tell a lot from the futon for a start. Young people have futons. These people wouldn't be anywhere near 40 with a futon. And they've got one laundry bag, which means they're probably very used to each other. Probably about 25 over.
It could be 20 and have been living together for years.
Yeah. Now look at the books. They're college educated, probably graduated when they're 21 or 22. Moved in together in the last year. You can tell more from the music.
It helps that the writing is smart. The plot is intriguing and keeps you guessing. The musical score is good, the cinematography is very good, and the sub 70-minute runtime helps ensure that the movie doesn't overstay its welcome. The score is 3 out of 5. This next one is probably a little controversial, but whatever. My number 10 is Tenet. What if you couldn't experience the passage of time because your brain couldn't form new memories? Did you know that you experience time faster when you're dreaming? Did you know that time is relative? What if you could see the same events from 3 different time frames? What if time was inverted? All jokes aside, Tenet is another mind-bender from Nolan that demonstrates both his strengths and weaknesses as a director. It uses a high-concept idea, premise, or plot device to tell a fairly simple story in a not-so-simple way with potentially underdeveloped characters. The cast is solid, but the characters are only as fleshed out as the plot needs them to be. This results in us knowing more about the beaten and abused housewife than we do about the protagonist, who is literally called the protagonist. Despite this movie's shortcomings, I can't honestly say that Nolan made any mistakes, because he knows exactly what he's doing. He generally knows which aspects of a story are more important than others. In Tenet, he knew that the story and the time-written version thing were more important than characters. Whether or not you enjoy this type of movie depends on your personal preferences.
What the hell is that?
Don't give it to him. This isn't plutonium. It's worse than that, goddammit!
My score is 4 out of 5. Number 9 is Insomnia. I haven't seen the original film, so I can't comment on faithfulness, but Christopher Nolan's version definitely stands on its own. Al Pacino and Robin Williams are both great, and it's really cool seeing Robin Williams as a villain. He does a... It's weird, but it's so cool. The script is tight, the cinematography is gorgeous, and the music is good but not great. My score is 4.1 out of 5. Alright, now for a little more controversy. Number 8 is Batman Begins. This is the movie that revived the franchise after Joel Schumacher almost killed it. It's a breathtakingly fresh direction for the titular hero, and I love it. It's also one of the best origin stories ever put to film. My only problems with this movie are Katie Holmes, she's just kind of meh, and the editing during some of the fight scenes, which could have been a lot better. Other than that, I love it. The writing is great, the acting is great, the music is great. The Tumbler is one of my favorite Batmobiles, top 3 for sure.
What's that? Oh, the tumbler? Oh, you wouldn't be interested in that.
She was built as a bridging vehicle. During combat, 2 of these would jump over a river towing cables. And over here on the throttle, flip that open and throttle up. This will boost you into a rampless jump. Not now!
Disengaged.
We never could get the damn bridge to work, but this baby works just fine. So what do you think?
Does it come in black?
And in my opinion, Michael Keaton is the best Batman, but Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne. My score is 4.4 out of 5. Number 7 is The Dark Knight Rises. Coming off The Dark Knight, this movie had the impossible task of living up to that movie, and it didn't succeed, but it did succeed at pretty much everything else. The acting is great. Tom Hardy as Bane is one of the best supervillains I've seen in a movie. The action is probably the best in the trilogy. The musical score is great as usual. And you know what? I love the ending. I love that we actually get to see a version of this story where Bruce retires from Batman and just goes on to live a happy life. Oh, and the opening scene is fucking amazing. The score is 4.5 out of 5. Number 6 is Memento. This movie is the kind of mindfuck that very few directors could successfully pull off, but Christopher Nolan is one of those directors.
Okay, so what am I doing? Oh, I'm chasing this guy. No, he's chasing me.
Guy Pearce gives one of his best performances to date, and Carrie-Anne Moss and Mark Boone Jr. stand out from the supporting cast. The musical score is great, and I love that the mystery builds with each previous scene. You'll have to watch this movie multiple times to understand it, but it's well worth it. My score is 4.6 out of 5. Number 5 is Interstellar. This movie is smartly written, well acted, and visually breathtaking. This is the kind of movie that put the science back in science fiction a year before The Martian did it. Considering how science-heavy it is, I love that it also takes time to have emotional moments with the characters. Coop getting back from the black hole and finding out that like 20-some years have passed. And seeing all these messages that his family have left him, but having to watch them all at once and not being able to respond, it's just... oh my god, it's heart-wrenching.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Mary.
You son of a bitch. I never made one of these when you were still responding because I was so mad at you for leaving. And then when you went quiet, it seemed like I should live with that decision, and I have. But today's my birthday. And it's a special one because you told me you once told me that when you came back we might be the same age. And today I'm the age you were when you left. So it might be a real good time for you to come back.
Matthew McConaughey is just outstanding, and the rest of the cast is great too. Hans Zimmer's musical score is one of his best, and the fact that they got most of the science right just blows my mind, especially with the black hole. The score is 4.7 out of 5. Number 4 is Dunkirk. This movie is intense, thrilling, and exciting. It's a mostly faithful retelling of a true story, so points for that. This movie grabs you right from the start, and it doesn't let go until the very end. The cast is excellent, with Cillian Murphy standing out. This is one of Nolan's movies where the characters don't get much development, but in this case it actually works. We know what the main characters know, and we're experiencing this from their points of view. As usual, Hans Zimmer's musical score is outstanding. The timeline can be a little hard to understand at first, but once you get to the end it should make sense. Nolan is basically showing you the same events from 3 different time frames and 3 different points of view, and it works. It really works. My score is 4.75 out of 5. Number 3 is The Dark Knight. Batman Begins revived the franchise, and this movie perfected it. The acting is great, the action is good, the music is excellent, and Heath Ledger's Joker is just one of the best villains in cinematic history.
Never start with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy. He can't feel the neck. See?
You wanted me. Here I am.
I wanted to see what you'd do. And you didn't disappoint. You let 5 people die. Then you let Dent take your place. Even to a guy like me, that's cold.
Where's Dent?
Those mob fools want you gone so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
Then why do you want to kill me?
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. No, you complete me.
The best thing about this movie is that even without Heath Ledger's Joker, even if they hadn't gotten him, if they had gotten someone a little less talented, the movie would still work just fine. It would suffer a little, but it wouldn't suffer that much. That's just how great the movie is as a whole. The score is 4.8 out of 5. Number 2 is The Prestige. This is a mindbender with a strong emotional core and no clear hero or villain, which is my favorite type of conflict. Heroes against villains is fine, but I'll take 2 different sides that are both in the morally gray area any day, assuming they're done well, which in this case they are. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman are great, and Andy Serkis is good, But the standout here is David fucking Bowie as Nikola fucking Tesla.
I need something impossible.
You are familiar with the phrase, man's reach exceeds his grasp. Is a lie. Man's grasp exceeds his nerve. Society only tolerates one change at a time. The first time I tried to change the world, I was hailed as a visionary. Second time, I was asked politely to retire. So here I am, enjoying my retirement. Nothing is impossible, Mr. Angier. What you want is simply expensive. If I were to build for you this machine, you would be presenting it merely as illusion?
Well, if people actually believed the things I did on stage, they wouldn't clap, they'd scream. I mean, think of sawing a woman in half.
Mr. Angier, have you considered the cost of such a machine?
Price is not an object.
Perhaps not, but have you considered the cost?
I'm not sure I follow.
Go home. Forget this thing. I can recognize an obsession. No good will come of it.
Well, hasn't good come of your obsessions?
At first, but I followed them too long. I am their slave. And one day they will choose to destroy me.
If you understand an obsession, then you know you won't change my mind.
So be it.
Will you build it?
I've already begun to build it, Mr. Angier. I hope you enjoy the mountain air. This will take some time.
I don't know whose idea that casting was, but genius. His performance is just like perfectly understated. The script is tight. Every little twist and reveal builds towards the climax, and the climax and the ending are just... wow. It's the kind of movie that you immediately want to watch again because you're certain you missed something. My score is 4.9 out of 5. Finally, number 1 is Inception. A high-concept plot cannot live up to its full potential without characters to relate and connect to. Tenet is proof of that. Inception is a movie that does that properly. Nolan gives his characters enough depth and personality that you care about them, even if some of them do feel underdeveloped. Unlike Tenet, this movie is a perfect example of a genius concept that it doesn't take a genius to fully understand. The pacing is excellent, Hans Zimmer's musical score is one of his best, and the ending is just perfect. My score is 5 out of 5. Hey everyone, let me know what you think. What's your ranking? I'm sure it's different from mine. Like and subscribe and all that. If you don't like the video, subscribe anyway so you can tell me how bad my other stuff is. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.